Hey, what's up, everybody? This is SatoriD, and we got a special net neutrality discussion with you with John Ottman, the chairman and co-founder of Minds.com. How's it going, John?
SatoriD, how are you? Thank you for
Good.
inviting me.
Yeah, it's been a while since we talked, but I'm glad to have you on.
It has been a while, maybe like almost a year, but
Yeah, I think
we've
so.
been very busy. But it's great to be back.
Yeah, and actually, I've loved the kind of direction Minds is going, and there's been a lot of cool and interesting stuff. So kudos to all the hard work you guys are doing with the Minds development team.
Well, thanks very much.
And then we also have in the background, we have Fritz Koppel and Missy Nomer. But we're going to start off with the discussion with John, and maybe just give us a brief background for a couple people, because I know you've been in the technology industry for a while, and then we'll get into net neutrality.
Okay, well, so I'm otherwise known as Bill Ottman's father. But I've been in the technology industry for a long time, over 30 years. And I've worked for a lot of big companies like Oracle and IBM. And I've also done a lot of startups along the way. Today, in addition to Minds, I'm executive chairman of a company on the West Coast called Solix Technologies, which is an enterprise data management, sort of enterprise software, big data company, and also chairman and co-founder with Bill, my son, of Minds. And got some great news. My other son, Jack, has just joined us as Chief Operating Officer. So we actually have three Ottmans now in the business, which is super exciting. In addition to the rest of the team, notably Mark Hardy, our CTO, and Ian Crossland, our Director of Energy.
Nice.
So the team's growing, and we had we're so excited. We had a tremendous regulation crowdfund formal SEC investment raise in June, and we broke the world record for the fastest $1 million crowdfund raise. That's the most that you're able to raise by law. And we now have 1,800 roughly independent investors, people who jumped in and just bought shares of Minds. And now we still don't have the money. We're waiting, but very soon now we'll receive that money, and that's spectacularly exciting for Minds and the Minds community, because now we've really got some financial resources we've already started hiring a few more engineers to try to move the whole development process as fast as possible. We couldn't hire enough engineers. It's really exciting. We're at a great place, and it's all because the Minds community has grown very fast and really got behind the crowdfunding. I can't even thank people enough for the support that we got. We raised $1 million in 19 days, which is the world's record for Regulation CF crowdfunding, which is the part of the Jobs Act that came in a few years ago, and it's a whole new opportunity for young companies to be able to achieve capitalization at the startup stage, and we really had a good experience with it. So thanks to everybody, and we're so excited right now. I can't even tell you.
Yeah, I mean, it was great to see how the Minds community kind of pulled together, and all the developments that we were slowly seeing, and I'm sure there's a lot of big stuff on the horizon. But basically, let's get a little bit into net neutrality. If you could kind of briefly explain net neutrality.
Well, it's really got me upset and on the edge of my seat, because we went through a big battle a few years ago over net neutrality with Chairman Wheeler, and he came around and driven by Obama administration pressure to make the right decision for a free internet, which was to install net neutrality rules, which make sure that the virtual oligopoly of ISPs are unable to dominate the free internet with IP blocking, slow lanes, data caps, peer-to-peer blocking, paid prioritization, whatever you want to call all the complicated technical tactics that have been used in the past and are a major threat to the free internet, particularly a young, disruptive, innovative startup like Minds, because we can't afford to take on those types of costs. That's where big companies crush small companies and crowd out competition. And it's also the reason why a few years back in I think the 1980s or early 90s, Title II was implemented on what was called equal access, which meant that for the voice calls, the long distance market was deregulated. And what used to be just the AT&T monopoly, all of these other long distance companies sprang up. Competition for long distance communications, became fantastic. Prices came way down, and now we've got this very wide open long distance market that's so effective, using what's called Title II, which meant that equal access had to happen over voice communications. And that's kind of the analogy of what it needs to happen here. Is net neutrality provides equal access, fair access to the internet for everyone. And what's particularly made it a very big and difficult problem is that there's really about 4 companies that are in charge of the entire thing, and it's Comcast, AT&T, Verizon, and DirecTV. And I'm not the type of person to pull for government involvement in business at all. I don't really like government involvement in business, but in this case, you have an oligopoly that is controlling the entire infrastructure, and without net neutrality, they will take advantage. They've done it in the past. They will do it in the future. The current FCC chairman is the current corporate counsel of Verizon. There's more lobby money going into this from these big companies than anyone could imagine. Every senator and congressman has been tagged by this lobby, and they're going hard at it. And on July 12th, we had the day of action, and I read that 5.5 million people contacted Congress and the FCC, and it was the biggest response from any internet activist movement ever. And the chairman of the FCC just didn't even pay attention to it. So that's very upsetting, and it goes under the drain the swamp sort of expectation that President Trump set. So a lot to talk about there, and it's not looking good for net neutrality right now. So net neutrality currently is the law, but it's not looking good, and it's, in my view, I think we're going to lose it unless we can mobilize more and more pressure. And the most important pressure is for people to get out, if they care about this, and let their congressional representatives know how they feel, and prioritize this on how you vote, because a free internet is really important for everybody.
Yeah, I think the number of the comments is up to 10 million, and I heard too there was a little bit of suspicion on the FCC is that they didn't want to disclose documentation about all the comments, and there was supposedly some attack, and they have no backup or anything about it. So mysteriously, these comments are kind of going under the radar.
Well, the people are not being heard. And,
yeah,
and that's this is America. This is America, and the people need to be heard, and they're contacting. Nobody's listening. It's concerning.
Yeah, and this is why I think I'm real. As you know about me, I have a lot of things that I'm interested in, and for me personally, even with Minds, the internet has been a place where I've been access to information, and not more than that, to express myself and express my voice. And the equal access is that I could broadcast live stream stuff at HD level as any other corporation with my setup that I have right now. And this bottom down innovation that I see boiling up all around the internet. Like, I've been able to just get into like different little groups, whether it's like involved in the community, investigate different stuff. And I think part of what's really important about the net neutrality, in my perspective, is that bottom up innovation. And it seems like with the major ISPs, that there's it's kind of like what the old media was, is kind of controlled by like 5 different corporations, and they control the levers of how the information gets disseminated, and who could broadcast this and that, and that this is kind of what they want to do by repealing these net neutrality and the Title II stuff. And so I think for anybody who really wants to have their own voice, to get access to information, that this is something to really dig into and to really look and to speak out on. And it was a good first wave with the Day of Action. But the proponents kind of been saying that their net neutrality is a solution in search of no problem, but there's a little bit of a brief history of violations. And for one of the ones that I just recently was researching was Comcast in 2005, which was the nation's largest ISP. They were blocking secretly peer-to-peer technologies to the customers of like BitTorrent, and we didn't uncover this until 2007, when there was an investigation by the Electronic Frontier, and so like that's kind of the thing of setting in the net neutrality basis, because we don't. This was 2 years after that people probably had their suspicions, but we actually didn't have really know to the extent of how they were blocking certain things and how they were picking favorites and doing different stuff on the back end of it.
Well, as a customer for years now, I've experienced this firsthand. I mean, I'm a big download, or I used to be. I don't do it much anymore, but I had my account suspended 2 or 3 times. They came in and just said, "Hey, you're out. We're shutting you down because you downloaded too much or you used up too much bandwidth." So there's no doubt that they're going to use this to just basically they're going to be able to shut down who they want to shut down.
Well, in the absence of rules preventing it, of course they will, because they have shareholders, and that's what the shareholders want to make money, and they're going to make more money.
Right, that's the bottom line.
And so it will happen, and it has happened in the past. SatoriD just mentioned one example, but there's a lot of examples out there, and that's the type of anti-competitive pressure that a company like mine, we cannot take that on. I mean, Google, I remember one time Google Wallet got IP blocked, but Google can defend themselves. They are the biggest lawyers, or legal team probably than anybody. They can defend themselves. Apple can defend themselves. It's very difficult for companies like us to engage in a complex legal battle, and take on these types of problems.
And John, also
it will stifle innovation, because companies like us will just get snuffed out.
Yeah, definitely. And what about this big? When you look at all the negative propaganda against it, you know that they're money into this. Can you address some of the really the myths out there that I mean, this whole thing about this is going to you know, solve the problem of blocking and discrimination, and it's going to take out the competition. Basically, there won't be any competition.
There is very organized social media professionals that are out pushing the opposing point of view, and they're on Minds for sure. You see a lot of their content, and one of their arguments, which is I don't think they have a single good argument, because essentially they're trying to defend an oligopoly, you know, and that's a pretty tough thing to do. But essentially, what they're saying is that net neutrality is government intrusion in free market, and you know, a lot of libertarians and Minds and people are like saying, you know, we don't want government, and so they're trying to like take a free ride on you know, the Ronald Reagan get government out of everyone's life, but it overlooks the fact that if there are no limits, and government completely pulls out, and there is no net neutrality, that this oligopoly will take it over. I mean, that will happen. So that's why in the past, you know, there's been plenty of examples of giant consent decrees that came from government, like when IBM was faced a consent decree where they couldn't sell all technology, could dominate. They had the mainframe that dominated everything, so they had a consent decree against them. AT&T is the same thing, as had consent decree, as I described earlier, in the voice market in long distance. So, you know, there's plenty of precedent for government to come in and set some rules of freedom, and everybody has to follow it. And so what I see is the other side is sort of saying, oh, well, that's intrusion by government into a free market and should never be tolerated. You know, they're trying to, you know, pirating the argument unfairly.
Yeah, and later too, I just, for everybody that's listening, and later I'll add a couple of references. And I actually had this great talk just briefly with a user on Minds, and his name was WriterFX, and I want to have this shareable Google document that kind of like a living document, and to evolve this conversation where people could give references. And I think what is really important is to go to sources that are experts and that you can have confidence in. And for me, you know, if I want something on technology, I have certain sites that I go to, and I said, these guys are kind of like the experts, and this is kind of, you know, like this is exactly why it was great to have you on here, John, because this is someone that I have respect for their opinion, and even, you know, knowing, that's why I kind of wanted to do a brief background of your history, that you've been in the industry, and it's something that you've done professionally, but also to you're trying, you know, you have, like what you said, strong opinions. And so it's for everybody to try to help them to get to reliable information, which is part of this, having a free and open internet. You know, you got to be able to be how you do your research and go into certain things, certain sites for certain expertise. And I'll have a list out there and a growing living document for that. But
I mean, it's literally, if you look at Minds, you know, like what keeps us up at night? I mean, you know, we're competing in a very tough market. You know, there's companies like YouTube and Facebook and whatnot. You know, and of course we think about those companies, but honestly, the internet is so big and the opportunity is so awesome that there's really no competition for us like that. The competition for us is something like net neutrality comes in and like takes out the oxygen, you know, and that's a real threat. I think it's maybe the biggest threat to the success of independent networks, independent websites like us, because the internet is big enough for everybody. Even if Facebook, you know, I'm sure they'll get into China at some point soon, and their market will double. And so the internet marketplace is so big. The only thing that really competitively a company like mine needs to worry about is something like this.
John, could you confidently say that you never would have gotten mines off the ground if this net neutrality didn't stay intact?
Well, I mean, look at the cable TV market, because that's what they did.
They did, yeah.
Do you see public access channels succeeding on cable TV? I mean, no. You won't. And so that's the other model. And they're, so if they could have the cable model here, they would. It's which model do you like? And the track record of the open internet is so breathtaking in terms of how quickly it's evolved humanity. To think about putting toll booths on it and everything, it's just I think it's a horrible idea.
Yeah, and one of the things that I liked during the day of action was Reddit. If you went onto their site at that day, they had loading to kind of like give you an experience of what can happen if this gets rolled back.
Yeah, Reddit in its magnificent creation would never have been created in a market where without net neutrality, or in a truly free market. And even the Wall Street Journal, I think it was this morning or yesterday, talked about additional pressures for the ISPs to be consolidated. And so right now you're looking at Comcast, AT&T, Verizon, maybe DirecTV, a few others. They're actually merging. The momentum in that industry is consolidation. So what is currently an oligopoly is practically a duopoly, or even a monopoly. And so you cannot put so much power in one set of hands over a free market. It's guaranteed to not be fair.
Yeah, we're in trouble. This just doesn't, I don't like the direction that everything is moving in. It seems like at every turn, all these big, the giant entities are all banding together to take away our freedom. I don't see how anyone who is a proponent of free speech could support anti-net neutrality.
Right. If you believe in free speech, you have to believe in net neutrality because that's what's on the line.
And I think the good example of this is kind of going back what you're saying about the cable companies is what happened to the mainstream media. They're controlled by a small amount of companies that control the old TV model, what you're talking about. And
right.
so
everybody's seen perhaps that one YouTube video. It's hilarious. It's the syndicated news video where they show 47 TV anchors tell the same story.
Yeah.
Using the exact same words. They obviously all got read from the single piece of paper that somebody gave them. You don't see that on the internet. You would not see that on the internet. You don't see that on YouTube. You see that on cable TV.
Well, I think this might be a good cause for us all to take up. We've been kind of a little distracted lately, but I would love to get behind this, and I think this could be great for maybe a group focus and bring together on this issue and organize. And I know you're doing that work, John.
Yeah, I try not to get into the politics and the position that I'm in. It's very important for us at Minds to have an open platform. We're not trying to be left. We're not trying to be right. We're just trying to be free, and that's what we're trying to do. But in this case, we have to jump in with an opinion, because it is the single biggest threat to a free internet and to the goals of a network like Minds.com. For all the reasons that we've discussed. And, you know, it's horrifying to me that we went through this enormous battle only 2 years ago, and we won by a landslide. And then, you know, the Trump administration, you know, despite a lot of sophistication in some areas, maybe some, you know, dysfunctional side in a lot of others, but on this one, it's unclear that the Trump administration understands what they're doing. Particularly, you know, if it's driven by you know, people from Breitbart, who's a company that will get crushed in a post-net neutrality world. So it's not even a rational strategy coming out of the White House in consistent with the positions that they've held on other things. And you know, I remember, you know, President Trump once, you know, being confronted on encryption on the internet, and he says, well, you know, let's get a smart guy to go, let's go Bill Gates and ask him what to do. Now, I'm not sure President Trump understands the internet. I understand that he understands Twitter, and he's obviously, you know, written a book on that. But in terms of things like net neutrality, you know, I wish he would take a look at this. I don't think if he understood it, he would be trying to eliminate net neutrality. It's inconsistent with all of his other positions. Drain the swamp. I mean, come on.
Well, you know, unfortunately, there's been a lot of inconsistency, and I don't want to get political about this, but it does seem to be that at every turn, corporate interests are invading the government. And they're basically, their goal is clear. It's to roll back all of our freedoms. They don't have an interest in us being free. They want us to be their lackeys, their slaves. It's in their best interest. And unfortunately, you know, they can manipulate the market to do that, especially with this whole thing.
Yeah. Well, for me, I don't get too political on stuff, but I voice my opinion. But for me, you know, a lot of different issues, you got to take it by case issue. And for me, what is important is to be able to have reliable resources and even seeing where your information is coming from. And for me, a lot of the proponents against net neutrality or rolling back the stuff, it seems to me, when I view it, my first instinct is this is a lot like when they were saying that smoking was healthy for you, that doctors were saying that smoking was good for you. It's very comparable. I was like, oh my God, this is no way that neutrality is in our best interest.
yeah. You don't want any government involvement in that market.
Yeah.
We're all back to Bernays again.
Yeah.
Bernays again.
But so, you know, we're going on the 30 minutes, so we'll start wrapping things up. But I want to continue this conversation with the community and even with the Minds development team, and we'll see about maybe what I really like to do and what I'm really focusing on with the Infinite Imaginarium is working independently collaboratively with each other. So we all have our little strengths and stuff, and I love to do little video mashups. So later, if anybody's listening and they want to kind of give their 2 cents into this discussion, contact me, give me the audio. I'll mash it up into a little. What I like to do is these kind of songs type of things, and the video that I posted on Minds, and we'll just see how this conversation goes. Like I said, I want to keep on building up that living document, which is a central resource. I have a Google Doc with it. It's underneath this on the Minds comments, and I like to thank John for his time. And of course, we'll have this conversation indirectly with our posting, but also to maybe we'll stay in touch and we'll see how this goes. But lastly, too, I kind of want to, since we have you, is there anything you want to say to the Minds community, and or if there's something on the horizon that you're really excited about as far as Minds development?
Well, as I said in the beginning, all I can say is thank you to the men's community, not only for coming and making accounts and participating and contributing in the way they have, but also so many of them turning into investors. So I can only say, number one, thank you to the community who's involved. It's so exciting for us, and we are really excited, and the energy just coming right to us, and so that's really really awesome. In terms of looking ahead, we're rolling out monetization in a big way. We've been experimenting for like a year on peer-to-peer payment systems and things like this, and trying to essentially install the plumbing of the plumbing sort of level of this network. And we're settling down now, and we're rolling out some significant new services, all based on peer-to-peer payments. Like Minds Wire, which is the ability to tip people points, dollars, cash, or Bitcoin. And we've implemented ad sharing for our blogs. We've just rolled out the affiliate program, which means that when you join the affiliate program, anyone who registers and creates a Minds account and uses your affiliate link, that person will receive 25% of all the points revenue that person spends on Minds. So it's a huge opportunity for big influencers on the site, big influencers on social media in general, or anyone, to help build the network and actually be paid. So we're trying to build monetization as a really, really significant differentiator. And Bill's always said from day one, people should be rewarded for their efforts online. So we are really heads down on that. Exclusive content is another big rollout that we're in the middle of. We have a new Boost console coming out. These are all very, very short-term sort of things. So that's our big focus right now, and we're getting great feedback on it. It's becoming very, very important in the marketplace to be able to have a free place where you can also be rewarded economically, and that's an important direction for us, and we're going to put a lot of energy into it.
Yeah, that's really great to hear, and it's important, I think too. And this is what kind of has kept me so long, because I have had really good interactions with you and Bill, and this whole momentum of open source philosophy. And what's really important is that Minds is one of the first, the only social networking that's community owned, that's owned people during the crowdfund, which was amazing to be able to buy some shares of Minds.
Oh,
and
thank you.
Yeah,
it was anonymous, so we didn't actually know. I haven't actually seen. I don't know who it is. So.
Which is also a added great thing about Minds. Anybody else want to chime in before we let John go? Anything you want to say, Fritz? You're muted if you want to talk.
I'll say thank you, because I think I have a little bit more of an understanding. I was wondering why a lot of people were like anti net neutrality. I didn't understand it, and it just seems to me like I'm a little bit on the fence. Like I'm kind of like Fretz a little bit, where I get really like enraged about it if I get too deep into it. I don't know how John keeps such an even keel of like I don't know how he does it. Seriously,
it definitely is the thing that gets me the most steamed up. I actually feel like if there was, I never want to be on a soapbox or use Minds for my soapbox, but if ever there was a time when you wanted to be activists in politics, this just might be the.
Well, that's why I've been thinking, how are people so distracted? Because I've been like, this seems like such a big issue. So I'm glad that you did talk about that. And I would love to mention that somehow I had a bunch of accounts created accidentally for me, and I can't get into my main account, which is really funny, because talk about putting work into something. I'm trying to figure out how to close the other accounts, but it was like a glitch. It was like
we have to put it in the support group. And
Yeah,
if
it's
the
kind
guy's
of
not asleep, then
it's
it'll get
it's
resolved.
it's a little more confusing than that because we keep going back and forth, and I'm just like, don't worry, all the other misnomer accounts are all me, but they were all created accidentally with a migration link from, it was like an old link from Facebook, and it created multiple accounts. And then now I'm like trying to get into the one because I have a new device, and so the whole time it had saved my login, can't even figure it out. So I want
Well,
to
you
be able
send
to
me a
get back
message.
in.
Just message me, and I'll
Okay,
help
I'll
you
try to.
work
I
through it.
will try. I will try to do that. I'm gonna try to figure it out because I'm trying to close the other accounts, deactivate them, and do it at anything possible to help because I know it's confusing.
Maybe you want to have a verified account.
Yeah, I would love that. Maybe I'll ask Satori about that, and he can let me know.
John
Just
helped me out with that.
Message me.
Thank you,
happy to accept it.
I-
Yeah,
Okay, thank you. All right, thanks.
that was important for Fred Capo because
Oh yeah.
somebody was impersonating him on Twitter, and so by being
Yes,
able to have a verified Minds account, he was able to prove that it was him.
that's exactly that. That's true. I'm glad that happened, by the way.
I
That's that you
appreciate
were.
that, John.
Yep.
Yeah, I really do. And also, it's going to going forward, it'll make things a lot easier as well. I got to say, you must be pretty damned excited. I know, I can see it. I can tell, hear it in your voice. You're very excited about this. And it's a shame that, you had such a fantastic outing like this. And now you got the downer of the net neutrality issue hanging over your head like a sword.
There's more battles to come. I think at the FCC board level, we're toast. It just looks like this guy Pi is not listening to anybody, let alone 10 million people. Unprecedented response from the American voting public. But it still has to get through Congress level, and there's still a lot of fights.
Yeah. Just recently, I read an article about a senator putting a little pressure.
Yeah, we can keep fighting.
All right, we will fight. I'll get on your side.
Thank you.
I don't think I've done much at all about it, and I'll take a more active effort on my end. Anyway, I will start to push this a little bit more. I'm very concerned, and as everybody knows, I'm just not. I don't want to be. I don't want to be silenced by anyone, and I think that the internet's the greatest thing that ever happened, really, and to have them come in and basically take it away. In essence, that's what they can do. They can create, make it just like cable TV, really. And I don't even turn the cable on anymore because I know it's all lies.
Well, nobody does.
Yeah,
it's like it's cutting cords. How fast is it happening? And so the other side has a problem there. But anyway, appreciate the time, you guys.
Yes, thank you.
And
very nice meeting you, John.
we'll
Getting a chance to talk.
Bye. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I say that we keep on a little bit. We do a little after hours, just hang out and talk if you guys have time.
I'm so glad I can try to get a verified account or something because I've been trying to figure it out for way too long. It's like not working. This is like
yeah, that stinks.
I can't get into my account now. I can't.
If you can't message him, I'll send you on Google Chat John's email
It's
so you
funny
can email
because
him.
isn't it John at Minds? Well, the thing is I've emailed him about this before. And the thing is that I don't think that like there was a way for him to know who I was or whatever before, but and the other thing is I've posted on my own account, like reminded the other Missy Nomer account and tagged John and Ottman and you and people and said, somehow I have all these accounts and they're all my pictures, but like literally this is the only account I'm using. So I have done that. Like if you scroll through my posts, you'll see I reminded, I think it's called My Idol, and it's like a little animated version of me.
Yeah.
And if you see that, I think I tagged John and Ottman and say these other accounts are not mine, and I list the ones that aren't me, but they're all my pictures. It was a glitch that happened.
You know, yeah, and sometimes they get those tags, and sometimes they don't. I mean, there's a lot. Like for me, and I'm on a smaller level. I didn't even notice those tags of you tagging me in those, and me and you talk
Really?
all the time.
That's so weird. I thought you were getting every single tag.
Nah. I mean, it can be buried in my notifications, or I'm just have my head elsewhere, my focus elsewhere. Sometimes I don't notice all that stuff.
I got those tags, Maga, and I guess I didn't really understand the issue. But you got to remember, I mean, so they see, you know, everybody sees tags to Bill and to Ottman.
We're also
John,
emailing.
right?
Yeah, we're also doing the email back and forth. And the thing is I'm not sure who it's going to because it's info@Minds. And I'm saying, can you please ask Ottman or Satori or Fretz or like literally I just talked to Ottman last week or the week before that.
I think the best way to go about this is to directly email now John, because you kind of put it into his awareness.
I will email him about it again because we've tried. I did try about this once. I'm going to try again. I'm just going to try to figure out.
What if you mention our chat in the email just to
see,
yeah.
You know?
See, the thing is about attention and focus. Like I may physically have gotten those tags, but my focus could have been elsewhere. And so I didn't really notice it, you know?
This is what I'm saying, though. I can't get to the account to see the other accounts. So if you scroll down, you'll see the other Missy No More accounts, and maybe you can show that to him. But I'll email him, but I can't log in at all now.
So this is why I can't private
So I can't log in.
I can't even message you now.
Yes, I can't log in at all now. So I'm saying like something is blocking me from.
Well, in the last,
be able to do a password reset, can't they?
Yeah, in the last email you sent me, you said you got a password reset.
No, what happened was I asked for one, and it's not sending me any emails. And I said to them, I'm getting emails for other accounts that are not the one I'm using, and I'm trying to close them or deactivate them, but I'm trying to tell them the only one I'm using is specifically Missy number 69. It's still confusing. I don't know why, but I can't get in. Like I have a new device.
I know what to do.
Thank you. Like
I'm gonna have to write that email for you. No, I just.
Well, the thing is because I can't log in to show them the other. But if you type in Missy Nomer,
I kind of know what you're saying.
You'll see all my pictures. Yeah.
I'm gonna get your main account, which is Missy Nomer 69.
Yeah.
And then I'll put the ones that are the duplicates or whatever. So say this is your main one that you want access to. And those are the other ones.
This is the problem also. They don't have anything on file to send me. The problem is I keep telling them, for some reason, there's no emails coming from my main account. So when they're trying to reset the password, I'm trying to tell them.
You don't remember what email you put in there? Or did you even put it in email?
I only have 2, so I gave them both of them, and I said any account with these emails would be mine, and you know which ones they are, and I gave them both. I said, for some reason I get the bonus point ones for the other accounts, like Missy Nomer, with no number after it, like the $1,000 bonus points. I've been receiving those for months, and I'm like, yeah, they still don't get that. That's not me. And every time I click on it, I'm like, yep, that's like the wrong picture.
That stuff is automated, though.
I know. But I send responses. I send responses, and I say that this is not my account. I need to fix it somehow. Because once I asked if I could merge them, because I had all these points accumulated on my other account.
I had I don't get those emails or those bonus points for SatoriD, because when I first signed up, I used an old email that I no longer use anymore, and it actually got like hacked or whatever, and so like I just totally don't use that one anymore.
I wish I knew. I wish I knew what it was.
Later on my official account, I believe I changed my email to the one that I use now, but I still don't get those emails to there, even though I changed it. So it's something with
there's some kind of
algorithm that they use to send those emails, that the first, they just rip whatever the initial one is, and then there's something about it updating doesn't communicate. Is my opinion of it.
It is really funny because on one hand,
Because I
Well, on
noticed that on
one,
my end.
yeah, you're right. And on one hand, there's all these accounts with all my pictures, which is funny because they're all my pictures. But then on the
They should
other
be able to
hand,
escalate this,
there's the option that I might not be able to actively get into the account that I use, which is gonna suck really badly if that happens. I hope not.
Well, I think they'll be able to escalate this, and they can go in on the back end and they can fix things.
Yeah.
Brett,
It's just,
I'm so glad you asked John the stuff you did because you actually, some of the stuff you were saying were things I was right about to say, and I was like, oh, good, you just asked what I was going to say.
well, I didn't really know what to, I mean, I basically, thank goodness, Dan gave me a kind of a good little outline of these myths, and I kind of went over all those.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. And I like that
so
you were like, this is worth a group focus. And I was thinking, well, yeah, that's one more group. We can do that. Yes.
I think there probably is one.
It's a good
maybe not.
about the truth about net neutrality there. It's just basically talking myths, the reality. So I was able to kind of look at those, form a statement and a question or whatever. But this is serious, and I think the thing is that, this administration is just, it's pants all over the place. And I don't think they're going to do hardly any of the things they want to do. Especially when the American people get involved and, make themselves heard. And I think it's a worthy issue to get behind. I mean, this threatens minds. Our ability to have our free speech platform on there. And people need to know about that, what this is. Just a takeover, it's a corporate takeover of the internet, basically. Just like they want to do with everything.
Yeah, it's funny too because you hear the arguments and just to generalize the alt-right, right? And they're like, no government's bad, they're so corrupt, this and that. I'm like, okay, this is how I was too in the beginning of Trump. I'm like, I agree with you. Yes, the government is corrupt and this and that. But why is the government corrupt? Because of special interests. What are the special interests? Corporations. And so now you want to turn the keys over to the actual people that are pulling the strings of the government? Because we're supposed to have a government for the people, by the people, of the people. But we have a government for the corporations, by the corporations, of the corporations.
Yeah, but we the people are minds.com.
That's right. We've got the IT platform to help,
Wait till they repeal net neutrality and Minds is suffering and Bill has to sell to Facebook.
We need a net neutrality.
I'm never going back to Sucky Zucky. Never.
No, but they won't disclose it. So you're thinking you're on Minds and it's independent and free. But in order to make it in the company, how this is how the cable companies work.
I see what
they
you're
go
saying.
And buy up, independent broadcasting, and they're labeled as something different. But you follow the tree, the web, and it all roads lead to 5 different companies.
Yep.
And that could possibly happen. Okay, yeah, no problem. Good.
And I really want to talk to you more. Unfortunately, I just don't. I've got a bunch of stuff I've got to do.
Yeah, no problem.
But I want to get back together later.
Don't leave us.
Missy, I've been meaning to.
Don't go. Don't leave us.
I'm holding it together, and